in this video, we're going to talk about how to get started with Kundalini Yoga. My name is Colleen, and thank you for joining me today. So first, to get started, you don't need a fluffy rug, you don't need to wear white, you don't need a turban, you don't need a headband, you don't have to do any of those things. You can completely come as you are when you are showing up to your first Kundalini Yoga class. But there are a few things I think we should prepare for before we show up. So first, we'll talk about preparation, then we'll talk about what to expect, and then we'll talk about after the class. So first, in the preparation before you come, I recommend not eating any heavy foods about 4 hours before you come. This is because we're doing a lot of breath and doing a lot of energy movement and doing a lot of physical movement. And when you have something in your belly weighing you down, you can make you feel kind of sick when you're starting to do all these breaths and these belly movements and there's something heavy in there. So really try to eat some light foods before coming. Next, I recommend washing the body or rinsing the body, cleaning the body, really coming to a class as the most pure version of you. So you can smudge the body before, you can sage. You don't have to take an intense shower, but some rinsing and just cleaning off the day, cleaning off the energy in the field is really awesome to prepare yourself for Kundalini. And the third thing I recommend is coming with an intention that this practice can bring up a lot of mental resistances, and it can be really challenging at times. So having an intention helps draw us back to why we came. And it's really awesome to think about, why are you wanting to come? Is there a change that you're looking for in your life? Is there something that you're trying to cultivate more in your life? If there's something that you're trying to let go of, so that when we've come against some difficult things, we have that to tie our mind back to be like, I can do it, this is why I'm here. So that's how you can prepare. Other than that, I just recommend wearing some loose, flowy clothes that you're comfortable in. I think it's hard to wear a tight yoga outfit to Kundalini because we're really trying to relax the body and we're moving the breath a lot. And when we are in constricting yoga outfits, we don't feel as open and we can't move our body as easily in terms of moving the body and moving the breath. And then what to expect during a class. So if you've ever come to a class, you might have thought, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on here? It is a little bit more funny than other yoga formats. So why it really kind of rattles your mind? I think Kundalini Yoga can be, very rattling. You can get really, confronted during Kundalini Yoga. And I feel sad because I think that turns a lot of people off from the practice. They have this experience and they're not really sure what they just went through, and then it's oh, I don't want to do that anymore. So what we're doing in Kundalini Yoga as we're putting our bodies into new movements, and we're starting to move breath through, and we're starting to move mantra through. So we're starting to run a new frequency through our body as they are in these different movements. And when we do that, some emotions start to surface, some patterns start to surface, some things that we may have not thought about in a really long time start to bubble up. And while they're bubbling up, they are starting to clear out of our system. But first we have to kind of go back through them. We have to feel the emotion again. We have to kind of have this thing surface so it can purge out of the system. And sometimes that doesn't always feel pleasant. It's not always pleasant to experience some things that have been really stuck down inside of us. But once we can release them and once we can let go of them, then we feel so much more free. So the end result is it can really keep you hanging on. The end result is so beautiful because after a continued practice of Kundalini, you can feel so much lighter, you feel so much more vibrant, you feel so much more alive, but you have to go in and start to clear these things out. And sometimes that can be an uncomfortable experience. So, and also what to expect is Kundalini, it's not like we're working on a lot of flexibility or working on a lot of strength like we are in other yoga formats. We're really working a lot more on our mind, and we're working a lot more on our energy system. So we can be doing short interval practices of things. Unlike maybe a flow or a stretch class, we do 3 minutes of this, 5 minutes of this, 6 minutes of this. And there's all a system of techniques that we're doing to help cleanse our bodies. And so after a Kundalini class, there's a wide range of results of what you might feel, and that's based on the class that you came to, and that is also based on the mental emotional state you came with, because with the mixture of those two things, you're going to have a different result each time you come. So sometimes you can feel so happy and so blissed out and so light after, and sometimes maybe some other emotion surfing and you're feeling a bit more sad, or you're feeling like you're having a deeper reflection on something that happened in earlier in your life that you're like really kind of processing. So it's good to know that when you're planning to come, that you don't always know what you're going to get after, so it's nice to have some time after a practice to kind of integrate and digest the practice that you just did. And the final thing is what to expect after a Kundalini Yoga class. So I think across the board, you're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel more of a glow, you're going to feel a sense of clarity, and that's like, no matter what, those are kind of the essentials that you'll feel. But as I said, there's a wide range of things that can be happening in the body depending on the class and depending on how you're feeling that day. I recommend really making sure that you come back to your body before you leave the room, before you leave the yoga studio, before you leave where you are. You want to feel really grounded, because sometimes Kundalini can make us feel really light and really flighty, and it's really not good to operate machinery or drive a car if you're feeling super light. So take some time and make sure you're feeling good in yourself before leaving. And if you need help coming back down, I recommend drinking some water and maybe eating some light foods if it was feeling intense for you. And the third thing I like to mention is that your body is really open after. So really be mindful of what you're putting in your body, and that's not just foods. It's also what content we're putting into our body. Are we looking at the news? What are we putting into our mind? What situations are we going to be present in? We might be more affected by those now that our body and our energetic system is more open. So just be really mindful of what it is we are intaking, and really give yourself some space to integrate after, to have some reflection time, because after a Kundalini class, your intuition is usually stronger and you have just a deeper sense of clarity. So it's fun to play with that and maybe have some new perspectives on different things in your life. So if you're curious to get started with Kundalini Yoga, I have a Kundalini Yoga course that is step-by-step everything you need to know to get started with this practice. I break down the fundamentals, we go through all of the most common practices and really learn all of the foundational things, so how you get started. Then I have the 15 most common practices that I'll do with you that you can use as a toolbox to start using in your own Kundalini practices or integrating into your other yoga formats. And then I leave you with 5 daily practices, so that if you want to continue really seeing the results in this life, you have 5 options of a practice to get started with. So if you're interested in that course, you can find the link below. Thank you so much for practicing with me today and listening to this video. I hope you have a beautiful day.